What's up, everybody? Welcome to Podcast Now Plus. I'm Alex, and in this video, I want to talk about the Death Stranding movie. I did not plan this. We're 2 days in a row. We've talked about two different adaptations in different mediums, other than gaming, for two different Sony franchises. This was not planned whatsoever, and I don't know how it was planned in the news either. So yesterday was the God of War TV show that was, confirmed to be happening. This one is now a movie, and it's being there's two different companies working on the movie, one of them being Kojima Productions. So that's excellent that you at least have that attached. In the same way, having Corey attached to the games definitely makes it better than if they weren't there. Now, I will say, here's some interesting things. I will say I have a very different kind of opinion on this Death Stranding movie than I necessarily did for the God of War TV show, because oddly enough, I think the movie for Death Stranding could be the greatest gaming adaptation ever created because of a couple of reasons. Number one, if Kojima's involved, and specifically if Hideo Kojima or even Guillermo del Toro, if one of them does the directing, then I feel, and now Del Toro is, in the game, so that would maybe make it a little difficult, but that would be very big. And then also, I can't imagine that you swap any, fan casting, right? Who's going to be Kratos? It's actually a debate, right? Like, Christopher Judge, I do think, can do it, but do you choose somebody else? You look at any of the, obviously Uncharted, right? You're not going to do Nolan North, so what do? You have to choose kind of the age and all that stuff. There is no reason to have any of these characters be anybody other than who they are. The only one that really wouldn't fit because of the mainstream thing maybe would actually be Troy Baker, right? An incredible actor, a guy who crushes it every single time, but he doesn't have the mainstream a Norman Reedus or any of them. He's not as big as them, and that's okay. I'm not saying recast Troy Baker. I'm actually saying keep him, but you know what I mean? It's just this movie, if it is just the game, and they say there's going to be new elements and they're going to add new characters to the movie as well, but the movie is being fast-tracked, right? The movie's being fast-tracked, so it maybe releases, maybe you can get it filming next year, have it released the year after, but I don't really see how, with Kojima attached, with everybody there, and especially if Kojima has extreme power, if you're even just retelling the first game. Now, there's actually a flip side to this, right? This entire time I've been saying greatest game adaptation. On the flip side of it, it goes to the question of why in God's name is this happening, right? So, for God of War, we had the talk of, I'm a little concerned for that, and I also just generally don't need any of these adaptations to happen ever, right? BioShock, Twisted Metal, Uncharted, there's a Gravity Rush movie, right? I'm normally opposed to them until they happen, and then I'll see what they can do with them. So on one side, I think in terms of a faithful adaptation that I really wouldn't have any worry that you're going to change something major or how's it going to work. I feel like Death Stranding would have the least concern, truly, and I'm dead serious, out of any of them. I'd have the least concern. But with that being said, the flip side of it is just play the game. Just watch the cutscenes of the game on YouTube. Why do you have to make it a movie? In fact, would it even work as a movie? Because, Hideo Kojima has quite the mind, and Death Stranding has quite the story that's also very long, even if you just did the cutscenes, which I feel like you would need to include kind of the action, because you got to have the idea of connecting, right, and taking packages from one place to the next, and just the idea of what the world actually is in Death Stranding. You need to kind of have that in the movie. So you wouldn't even just be doing the cutscenes, you'd also be doing some of the other stuff, right? But then it's a movie, you got 2 hours. You got 2 hours to tell a story that probably you need 20, 30 hours of cutscenes to fully understand. How in God's name are you going to do that? So on one side, I think adaptation-wise and keeping literally everything the same would be no concern at all, literally at all. On the other side, how necessary it is to do this is probably the least necessary of any. And it's almost both of them are such extreme, almost I'm exaggerating, but I'm just being extremely serious for both sides. Best gaming adaptation, but also the one we need the least. The one that just makes no sense to do at all. It's both of them. And it's kind of odd that a game actually it's not. It's not odd that a Hideo Kojima game turns into something like this, where it's both ends of the extreme. So let me know what you guys think in the comments. Make sure you guys are subscribed, bell icon turned on, and I'll see you all on the next one.